Hello and welcome to WION The World is One. You're watching Gravitas with me, Kaur Suraya. We're starting with some breaking news. US President Donald Trump has said that his administration is seeking to reclaim possession of the Bagram Air Base in Afghanistan, the base that he lambasted his predecessor for handing over during the US exit from Afghanistan. During a joint press conference with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer in the UK, Trump said, "We're trying to get it back, by the way." This is what he said.
They just went through the Afghanistan total disaster for no reason whatsoever. We're going to leave Afghanistan, but we're going to leave it with strength and dignity. And we're going to keep Bagram, the big air base, one of the biggest air bases in the world. We gave it to them for nothing. We're trying to get it back, by the way. Okay, that could be a little breaking news. We're trying to get it back because they need things from us. We want that base back. But one of the reasons we want the base is, as you know, it's an hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons.
Well, you heard Trump, a bit of breaking news. Trump is saying that they're trying to get the Bagram Air Base back. US President Donald Trump said that his administration is seeking to reclaim possession of Bagram Air Base in Afghanistan, the base that he lambasted his predecessor for handing over during the US exit from Afghanistan. For more on this, we're now being joined by Susan Tehrani. Susan, thank you so much for joining us. Question number one, why does Trump need Bagram when it was in his tenure that he had expressed the desire of withdrawal from Afghanistan?
Yeah, President Trump has said time and again that during that agreement to withdraw from Afghanistan, Bagram was in no way, shape, or form part of that deal. And the administration himself and his supporters time and again have blamed President Biden for what they call a faulty withdrawal from Afghanistan, leaving Bagram and then those weapons as well. But nonetheless, here we are now. President Trump, critics say, is facing somewhat of a sort of challenge if he does want to go back into Afghanistan just for security reasons, and it may be unrealistic. But nonetheless, it appears that the president is saying it's not so much about the Taliban. It's more about its geostrategic location, which is very close to Pakistan, Iran, China, and Russia.
Absolutely. And Susan, of course, how is this idea being received in the United States as well? This is a big announcement that he made in the UK.
He did. And I'll tell you, the response is regarding Bagram, what it has been. His supporters say that it was just multi-withdrawal from the Biden administration. They botched that withdrawal, left weapons there in Bagram. Critics argue that he was the one who actually put the plan to withdraw from Afghanistan, and then when he was gone, there wasn't really a concrete plan how to escape. Generals and the military, they're divided on how Bagram would be moving forward, not just whether or not the United States could even get it back, but also, whether or not it was just realistic not to leave Bagram and leave U.S. forces there in that situation with the Taliban. But I think it's very important to note that when President Trump talks about Bagram, he is completely, utterly associating it with China and saying that, China is a nuclear power. It's very close over there. So he knows what he's talking about. He's sort of signaling to the Taliban, you want our help. Maybe we can help you if you give us Bagram. We don't want to start a war, but the real concern right now is not only China, but Russia and Pakistan to a certain extent as well.
Right. Well, Susan, thank you so much for bringing us the latest on this. Of course, we'll continue to track all developments on this front closely. Thank you for now. All right, the top story on Gravitas tonight. Pakistan, a country fighting a multi-front war, not the military kind, but the kind that affects ordinary citizens, poverty, lack of governance, domestic politics, and rising food and fuel prices. Yet, it's not these problems keeping its leaders awake at night. Far from it. The real question troubling Islamabad is, what if Pakistan were attacked by its enemy in the middle of the night? That fear now has a new answer. Pakistan, the terror exporter of the world, and Saudi Arabia have signed a NATO-style defense pact. They're calling it the Strategic Mutual Defense Agreement, signed on Wednesday. This pact has raised eyebrows over its wording. That's what the text of the agreement says, without naming any adversary. For Saudi Arabia, the deal comes at a time of growing doubts about US reliability as a security guarantor, and after Israel's strike on Doha infuriated Arab nations. For Pakistan, it is nothing short of a strategic deterrence against India. Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, Army Chief Field Marshal Asim Munir, and Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman were shown embracing after signing the pact. But the questions here are bigger. Will Saudi Arabia really shield Pakistan against India? Would Pakistan offer Saudi Arabia a nuclear umbrella? A Saudi official told news agency Reuters this is a comprehensive defense agreement that encompasses all military means. And Pakistan is the only nuclear-armed Muslim country. It says that has the Islamic world's largest army. An army that openly says it exists to counter India. As for Saudi Arabia, officials insist this deal is not about any specific country, but I would argue that timing is everything. You see, Arab countries are infuriated after Israel's attempt on the 9th of September to eliminate Hamas leadership with airstrikes on Doha. Before the Gaza war, Gulf monarchies, all US allies had sought to stabilize their ties with both Iran and Israel to resolve their long-standing security concerns. But over the past year, Qatar has been subjected to direct hits twice, one by Iran, once by Israel. Those concerns weigh heavy on the Gulf countries, and Israel is widely believed to possess a sizable nuclear arsenal, but as you know, maintains a policy of nuclear ambiguity, neither confirming it nor denying it. Pakistan, on the other hand, is more than happy to show off its nuclear arsenal. But the deal has raised deeper concerns. Saudi Arabia is not just offering political solidarity. It may also seek nuclear technology from Pakistan to advance its own nuclear energy and defense goals. Analysts warn this could pit Riyadh against India in any future conflict with potentially adversarial consequences for New Delhi's carefully built ties with the kingdom. For India, the Saudi-Pakistan pact is troubling. The Saudi deal comes months after Pakistan faced a setback when India carried out its anti-terror Operation Sindoor, striking terror camps inside Pakistan with proof of its precision strike on a terror headquarters. Remember, in May this year, the strikes were carried out after Pakistani terrorists launched one of the most horrific attacks in Kashmir, killing tourists in Pahalgam based on their religious identity. Pakistan retaliated to India's anti-terror operations by launching drones and missiles across India's western border, an escalation that India countered once again with clinical precision. And lest we forget, Pakistan, a safe haven for UN-designated global terrorists, has repeatedly said that its nuclear weapons are aimed only at India, with missiles designed to hit any target to the east. Now, with this pact in place, Saudi Arabia has tied itself to Pakistan's wars. It cannot easily go back on that commitment. New Delhi has responded in a measured tone. The Ministry of External Affairs says it is aware of the pact and will study its implications for India's security and regional stability. Responding to the news of the new defense pact between Saudi Arabia and Pakistan, India's Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson Randhir Jaiswal said in a post on X that India was aware of the development and will study its implications for New Delhi's security and for regional stability, of course. The ministry also said that the Indian government remains committed to protecting national interests and ensuring comprehensive security in all domains. Wary of the optics surrounding the pact, Saudi Arabia was quick to de-link it from its ties with India, which it said are more robust than ever. According to a senior Saudi official quoted by Reuters, there's a clear understanding in Riyadh of the need to balance relations with India, also a nuclear power. The official said, I'm quoting here, our relationship with India is more robust than it has ever been. We will continue to grow this relationship and seek to contribute to regional peace in every way we can. But the question remains, if Pakistan provokes India again, where will Riyadh stand? Because this time, Saudi Arabia has not just signed a piece of paper, it has bound itself to Pakistan's conflict with India.
See, firstly, I think there is a apprehension that with this sort of effect, maybe Saudis may want some nuclear technology from Pakistan, which could probably take Saudi Arabia towards weaponization, because Saudi Arabia has often indicated that if Iran acquires a weapon, they would go for it. So that's one feasibility. Saudi Arabia has been moving away from fossil fuels. They have actually gone in a big way for solar energy. And now probably this will probably accelerate their move towards nuclear energy. But as far as India-Saudi diplomacy is concerned, now this could have a serious impact, and that's why India's Ministry of External Affairs has said that they would like to study. Because please understand, this sort of a pact, as has been communicated, pits Saudi Arabia against India in case of a future conflict between India and Pakistan. Now, that's going to be a very serious issue, that because it's a collective security agreement that creates a problem. That attack on one is an attack on both. So, if a Houthi attacks on Saudi Arabia, Pakistan will come to the aid of Saudi Arabia. That's okay. If Israel attacks Saudi Arabia, Pakistan will come and try and defend Saudi Arabia. That's also okay. But when India and Pakistan gets into a skirmish or a conflict like the one which we saw during Operation Sindoor, that means it also brings Saudi Arabia against India, to which may have a very, very serious adversarial impact on India-Saudi relations.
Time to time, Pakistani for prime ministers have been given to say that, Saudi Arabia's defense is our defense. I think when General Bajwa was given the highest civilian honor by Saudi Arabia, then the prime minister went on Twitter to say that your defense is ours. So this kind of thing has been going on for years. Also in 94, there was a Saudi defector, who brought out a bunch of documents. And one of those talked of an agreement between the two countries saying that the Pakistan will provide a nuclear umbrella to Saudi Arabia. That was specifically an agreement. We never saw that, but this is what is generally understood. But that was a different Saudi Arabia. It was a different set of issues which were there at that point of time. Now things are different. Saudi Arabia, the prince is on the course for modernity. It's on a completely different path from Pakistan. So this is a signal to the US and everybody else arising from the attack on Qatar. It has significance where Pakistan-Saudi, Pakistan-West Asia relations, Pakistan-Iran relations. Because this deal, I believe, they also spoke to Iran before signing this deal, this defense agreement.
Now, is Chinese President Xi Jinping losing grip on power? When analysts suggest he is, whether it's a delegation of authority, succession plan, or perhaps an early retirement. Could China's once imperious ruler now be facing his own political nightmare? For years, Xi Jinping has cultivated an image of unchallenged power. His meticulous consolidation of authority has seen rivals dismantled, ensuring that he remains China's most powerful leader since Mao Zedong. However, recent regulations quietly passed by the Politburo have sent shockwaves through the heart of the Chinese Communist Party. These new rules aim to standardize decision-making and empower the party's coordinating bodies, suggesting a shift of power from Xi's personal control for the first time. Major policies and tasks which were once solely controlled by Xi are now under the oversight of party organs. Xi's recent absence from the BRICS summit in Rio de Janeiro has fueled these theories. Premier Li Qiang represented China. This happened for the first time since Xi assumed presidency. His absence raised questions about his health and political intentions. His unexplained disappearance in July and August added fuel to the speculation. However, she quickly resurfaced when he visited Tibet. Xi's Tibet visit in August was short, strange. He spent just 24 hours in Lhasa, which is far shorter than his previous visits. This raised questions about his health and stamina. Some observers noted that he appeared unsteady on his feet, and notably, Xi did not visit the $165 billion Yalung Sangpo Dam, a flagship project of his regime. Such visits are normally seen as opportunities for Xi to consolidate his political base, so his absence sparked further concerns. Despite the fanfare surrounding his military parade on the 3rd of September, Xi's handling of foreign diplomacy may also be telling. The meeting with Putin and Prime Minister Modi is viewed as part of Xi's global power play and was not as significant as some might think. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is far from aligning himself with China, continues to push India towards greater independence and regional dominance, even skipping Xi's military parade to attend talks in Japan. Meanwhile, Russia, a country in need of China's support due to Trump's tariffs, remains far more reliant on Beijing. The military parade raised suspicions about shifts in the Chinese military leadership. General Zhang Yuxia, who is a key figure believed to be leading the internal push against Xi and was seen taking greater control. His actions of moving the 82nd Group Army into central Beijing signaled a show of strength and perhaps a challenge to Xi's authority. Interestingly, state media highlighted Wang Yang, who is a former member of Xi's inner circle, to possibly raise a succession plan or a shift in the power structure. Xi's health remains under close scrutiny. Observers have noted that he appeared unsteady and even flushed during public appearances. Some even speculate this may be indicative of liver disease. Meanwhile, U.S. intelligence reports suggest that General Zhang may now hold real power behind the scenes in Beijing. As China enters this new era of potential political transition, the world watches closely, with analysts questioning whether the once unassailable Xi Jinping is truly facing the beginning of his political downfall. And Donald Trump's war on America's late-night comedians has claimed a new casualty. Popular late-night host Jimmy Kimmel's show was abruptly taken off air just hours after U.S. government threatened to cancel broadcasting licenses over comments Kimmel made about the killing of conservative influencer Charlie Kirk. The stunning decision by its ABC network to remove one of America's most influential late-night shows was blasted by critics as government censorship. But it was celebrated by the president himself. Donald Trump, who has had a long brush with comedians who mock him. On his Truth Social page, Trump posted, "Great news for America. Congratulations to ABC for finally having the courage to do what had to be done." The president, who also cheered in July when Stephen Colbert's show was cancelled, then turned his sight on two more rivals. Trump wrote that leaves Jimmy Fallon and Seth Meyers, two total losers on fake news NBC. Their ratings are horrible. Do it, NBC, he said. In Hollywood, where Kimmel's show is recorded, audience members were turned away at studio doors. Another audience member described the cancellation as deeply un-American.
Any show that's on TV that speaks out against Donald Trump, he's trying to shut down, and we're not losing our right to watch what we want to watch, but we're losing our freedom of speech. You know, I mean, this is something that happens in, Russia and North Korea and China and state-run TVs, stuff.
Just a week after Kirk, a Trump ally was shot dead on Utah Valley University campus. Conservatives, including Trump, have blamed the radical left, but police say 22-year-old Tyler Robinson acted alone and have charged him with murder. On Monday, Kimmel addressed the killing in his opening monologue. He accused the MAGA movement of exploiting Kirk's death for political points and mocked Trump for pivoting from a question about his friend's death to boasting about a ballroom he's building at the White House. Kimmel quipped, "This is not how an adult grieves the murder of somebody called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish." And on Wednesday, FCC Chairman Brendan Carr raised the stakes, openly threatening the licenses of ABC affiliates airing Kimmel's show. Speaking to a right-wing podcaster, Carr said that it's past time these affiliates push back. We're running the possibility of license revocation from the FCC. Within hours, Nexstar, one of the largest owners of ABC affiliates, said it would stop carrying the program. The company is currently pursuing a multi-billion-dollar merger that requires FCC approval. ABC, owned by Disney, then pulled the show nationwide. Kimmel himself has not commented, and his representatives did not respond to queries either. The White House, meanwhile, has already fired repeated broadsides at institutions critical of Trump. From universities to law firms to the media, several outlets, including ABC and CBS, have reportedly made large settlements to avoid Trump's lawsuits, with funds going towards his future presidential library. Democrats are sounding the alarm. Senator Ben Ray Lujan posted on social media, saying that Trump and FCC Chair Carr made it clear, fall in line or be silenced. Their words. California Governor Gavin Newsom wrote, buying and controlling media platforms, firing commentators, cancelling shows, these aren't coincidences. It's coordinated and it's dangerous. Outside Kimmel's studio in LA, some supporters gathered in protest and have expressed their concerns about what really might be at stake in Trump's America.
I'm devastated. I'm really upset. I'm really upset. This is free speech. We are supposed to have free speech in this country, and this is not free speech. He didn't say anything wrong. I'm really upset.
Also in Britain, the police have arrested 3 people suspected of assisting Russian intelligence service. The latest allegation of spying activities on behalf of Moscow in Britain. The 3 spies are 2 men aged 41 and 46 and a 35-year-old woman. They were arrested in Essex, east of London, and have been accused of offences under the National Security Act, brought in 2 years ago to give new powers to target threats from foreign states. London Police's Counter-Terrorism Command has said that there has been an increase in the number of so-called proxies being recruited by foreign intelligence services Remember, London has repeatedly accused Russia or its agents of being behind spy plots and sabotage missions in Britain and across Europe. The British domestic spy chief has even said that Russian operatives were trying to cause mayhem. The Kremlin has, of course, denied these accusations, saying the British government repeatedly blamed Russia for anything bad that happens in Britain. In July, 3 men were found guilty of an arson attack on Ukraine-linked businesses in London, which British officials said had been ordered by Russia's Wagner mercenary group, with 2 others admitting their involvement in the attack. That followed the conviction in March of a team of Bulgarians for being part of a spy unit being run on behalf of the Kremlin. In an unprecedented move, President Emmanuel Macron and his wife Brigitte are taking legal action against prominent US right-wing influencer Candace Owens. The reason? For promoting a damaging and baseless claim about Mrs. Macron's gender. The Macrons have filed a defamation lawsuit in Delaware, where Owens is based, and seeks substantial punitive damages. Their case revolves around the false and deeply hurtful rumor that Mrs. Macron was born Jean-Michel Trono, a male, before transitioning to a female. This rumor has been circulating in France for about 5 years and was recently amplified by Owens, who has millions of followers on social media. To set the record straight, the Macrons plan to present scientific evidence and photographs that will irrefutably prove Mrs. Macron's biological sex. The evidence will include images of Mrs. Macron during her pregnancy and with her 3 children, alongside expert testimony. Tom Clare, who is the couple's US lawyer, stresses on the personal cost of this lawsuit. In a recent interview, he said, I'm quoting here, "It's incredibly upsetting to think that you have to go and subject yourself to put this type of proof forward. but she's firmly resolved to do what it takes to set the record straight. The couple's pain and distress over the false rumors are evident. Macron himself shared how the false news amplified by Owen's powerful online platform had taken on a life of its own. He said the couple had been advised against suing, but the situation had grown so intense, particularly in the United States, that they had no choice but to act. Despite the legal action, Owens is in her usual defiant tone and has doubled down on her claim. She even argued that the Macron's legal efforts were a desperate public relations strategy. As the court proceedings unfold, this high-profile defamation case will not only have legal ramifications, it also raises questions about the limits of free speech and the power of social media in spreading false narratives. Now, President Trump blasted John Lyons from the Australian Broadcasting Corporation when asked how much wealthier he had become after becoming the President of the United States for the second time. Admonishing the reporter, Trump said he would soon meet Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and that he would tell Albanese about the journalist. When Lyons attempted to ask a follow-up question, Donald Trump told him to be quiet. Here's the full sequence.
Appropriate President Trump that a president in office should be engaged in so much business activity.
Well, I'm really not. My kids are running the business. I'm here. You know what the activity, where are you from?
I'm from the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, Four Corners program.
Love the Australians. You're hurting Australia, right? In my opinion, you are hurting Australia very much right now. And they want to get along with me. You know, your leader is coming over to see me very soon. I'm going to tell him about you. You set a very bad tone.
Well,
go ahead, John.
Okay, maybe you can
set a nicer tone.
When the UAE does a deal, what does it want in return?
Quiet.
And that's that. With that being said, a massive 12-foot golden statue of Trump clutching a Bitcoin has been installed outside the Capitol. That has sparked both attention and debate. The unveiling of the statue coincided with the Federal Reserve's first cut since Trump took office. This image reflects the president's love for the crypto sector. That also expands on the raging debate about the president and his family's business ventures in the digital assets sector. Now let's take a look at how much money Donald Trump has made from his presidency in the current term. Over the last year, beginning slightly before the election, he stirred up new businesses with a special focus on cryptos. His business interests range from entertainment to media to crypto and real estate. All these businesses are making money for the president. But how much? According to the Forbes calculations, crypto ventures have made Trump about $1 billion, lifting his net worth to an estimated $5.6 billion. That is more than double from just a year ago when his net worth was just $2.1 billion. Crypto has done more than just make Trump richer. It has also provided liquidity that the president so desperately needed. During his first term, Trump's wealth actually fell. However, this time around, there is a clear spike in his wealth. Much of that surge in Trump's fortune has come because of him being the president and his crypto businesses. According to Forbes, about a year ago, Trump was short on cash. Back then, he needed more than $500 million as bonds for legal cases against him, but had only about $400 million on his balance sheet. The majority of that money was for a fraud case he lost and is currently appealing. Now, however, Trump holds roughly $900 million in liquid assets, about half of which come from his crypto ventures. There are hundreds of millions, perhaps billions more on the way. World Liberty Financial, one of Trump's ventures, is only the beginning to ramp up. Ethics experts have criticized Trump for conflict of interest. Reason? Trump stands to gain financially from sectors in which he is also responsible for formulating policy as the US president. However, according to the White House, Trump is isolated from the companies that bear his name and instead has handed over the reins to his family. In response to Australian journalist John Lyons' question, the president reiterated, "My kids are running the businesses." Despite the ire from Trump, Lyons' question remains on several minds. Is it appropriate President Trump that a president in office should be engaged in all these business activities. Now in Pakistan, a bombshell has just dropped. The Khyber Pakhtunkhwa chief Ali Amin Gandapur's advisor has made a startling revelation. Advisor to the chief minister on accountability, retired Brigadier Muhammad Musaddiq Abbasi, revealed that according to a leaked Commonwealth Observer Group report, the elections in February 2024, were riddled with problems and it was stolen away from Imran Khan. He claimed that report didn't just highlight electoral chaos, it delivered a scathing indictment of Pakistan's institutional entanglement in politics. The report, Abbasi claims, calls for nothing less than a seismic shift, new binding rules of engagement for all state institutions, including the very powerful military. Its message is clear and uncompromising: to end political manipulation. The state must retreat from the shadows and restore true independence to Pakistan's fragile democratic machinery. Abbasi claims that the leaked report also calls for independent judiciary in Pakistan. Imran Khan's party, the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, has already demanded the release of Commonwealth Observer Group report on the 8th of February 2024 elections. PTI's demand comes after a news outlet claimed that foreign observer missions had allegedly buried the report after finding the irregularities in the poll process. Now, the aide revealed that report paints a dark, disturbing portrait of what truly unfolded ahead of the 8th of February elections. According to its findings, this was not just a flawed democratic process, it was a systematic dismantling of political opposition. People disappeared without a trace. Homes were stormed in the dead of night. PTI offices were sealed shut. Basic human rights were trampled. It was never a level playing field. The fundraising efforts were blocked, rallies banned. Dissent was not just discouraged, it was hunted. And at the heart of it all was one name: Imran Khan. The former Prime Minister was sentenced multiple times to keep him out of the elections, and the law was used as an organized weapon. Now, the Chief Minister's aide said the report questioned the lifting of the life ban on former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif despite his court disqualification and the denial of PTI's election symbol. It also noted that electronic media laws were altered to target individuals, journalists were killed with no accountability, and the internet was shut down on election day. When the Election Commission was asked, it claimed the issue was beyond its authority. The report revealed Abbasi further alleges the report pointed out that the forms provided to polling agents about election results were different from those which were uploaded on the election panel's website, and that the Election Act was changed to appoint retired judges and reverse the Supreme Court's decisions. Abbasi didn't just stop there. He insists that according to the leaked report, the official secret act of Pakistan was changed after the 9th of May riots, and that too retrospectively to validate the illegal act of civilian trial in military courts as well as the trial of PTI founder Imran Khan in the Cypher case. Just to recall for the viewers, in early 2023, protests took place in Pakistan after the Punjab police attempted to arrest the former Prime Minister of Pakistan, Imran Khan, nearly 1 year after his removal from office. This came after Khan failed to appear before a court in relation to the Toshakhana case, leading to a non-bailable arrest warrant being issued. Finally, on the 9th of May, Khan was arrested, immediately triggering widespread violent unrest across Pakistan, with tens of thousands of Khan supporters participating. Demonstrations, vandalism, clashes with police officers and soldiers. Meanwhile, its former Prime Minister Imran Khan continues to languish in jail and his party and its members remain banned. And France is in the grip of protests once again challenging Emmanuel Macron's austerity drive. Teachers, train drivers, pharmacists and hospital staff walked off the job. Teenagers blocked school entrances across France in a nationwide day of protests against looming budget cuts and unpopular fiscal reforms. The strikes disrupted public transport, schools, pharmacies and even nuclear power production as unions demanded that President Emmanuel Macron's government abandon austerity-style plans, increase taxes on the wealthy and channel more money into public services. As Interior Ministry sources said, up to 800,000 people were expected to join strikes and demonstrations nationwide. France's main unions issued a joint statement denouncing the previous government's brutal and unfair fiscal policies. France's budget deficit last year was nearly double the EU's 3% limit. New Prime Minister Sébastien Lecornu, appointed as François Bayrou, was forced to step down in the last wave of protests and faces the twin challenge of appeasing investors while gathering enough parliamentary support to pass a 2026 budget. His predecessor Bayrou was ousted over a controversial plan to cut 44 billion euros. Lecornu has signalled he may seek compromise but is yet to confirm whether Bayrou's proposals will be scrapped. The union said 1 in 3 primary school teachers were on strike nationwide, with nearly half of Parisians' teachers walking out. Regional train services were heavily disrupted, though most high-speed lines continued to run. Metro lines in the capital were suspended for much of the day as well, except during rush hour.
The choice is made maintaining a high level of dividends for companies at all costs, while, in fact, the state's primary budget is aid to businesses, amounting to 111 billion according to the parliamentary report. And yet, with this aid for the richest, along with the abolition of the wealth tax, etc., they tell us that public services and social security must be cut. We don't agree. We think the opposite is what needs to be done.
In our high school, we had coordinated all the cultural projects, the Spanish language outings, the movie outings, the theater option, and we're forced to meet today, mid-September, to tell everyone that we can't fund their project. And that's terrible for our colleagues.
Now, pharmacies across the country shut their doors after the pharmacists' union said 98% of its members plan to strike in protest at regulatory changes threatening their businesses. Elsewhere, protesters blocked traffic on highways near Toulon, while workers at nuclear utility EDF slightly reduced output, cutting power production by 1.1 gigawatts. Authorities deployed 80,000 police, supported by riot units, drones and armoured vehicle. More than 20 arrests were reported. By midday, more must have followed, and the unrest even rippled into the cultural sphere. Plans to transport the famed Bayeux Tapestry, a 70-metre-long medieval masterpiece chronicling the Norman invasion of 1066, were postponed due to these disruptions as well.
The government needs to understand that we are fed up with austerity, that there are real measures that need to be taken to save France, but these aren't the ones that need to be taken against workers. These are measures that need to be taken at the government level and the savings that need to be made.
Now, the French hard-left France Unbowed Party leader Jean-Luc Mélenchon joined the protests as well. A test for Macron and Lecornu. The strikes and student-led blockades mark one of the largest coordinated actions against the government since Macron's contested pension reform last year, which raised the retirement age.
By calling for a strike and a demonstration, the unions have put on the table a number of demands that are clearly incompatible with Mr. Lecornu's political line. Therefore, the union issue is compounded by a political one. What kind of government is capable of taking social demands into account? That's the most important thing.
Surcharge d'une question politique, c'est quel genre de gouvernement est capable.
For Lekonu, as Prime Minister, these protests highlight the political storm awaiting him as he balances EU budget rules, investor pressure and public anger on the streets. Now, beneath the glitz, the glamour and billion-dollar box office hits, Bollywood has a bloody undercurrent. For decades now, India's most iconic film stars found themselves in the crosshairs of not paparazzi, but of guns, knives and underworld vendettas. And the latest victim in this dangerous game is Bollywood actor Disha Patani. Just days ago, her Bareilly home became the target of an attack. Two men suspected of opening fire on her residence were tracked down and killed in a dramatic encounter. The two men had been on the run after the 12th September firing incident, where CCTV footage emerged showing the attackers on a motorcycle stopping near her home. One of them then pulled out a gun and fired multiple rounds, including 2 aerial shots, before speeding away. This chilling attack on Disha Patani's home is just the latest chapter in the bloody saga. It has seen Bollywood's brightest stars fall victim to criminal underworld. For decades, stars have been targeted for everything from extortion to personal vendettas, with gangs like the Lawrence Bishnoi Group, Goldie Brar and others wielding power over film production and distribution networks. Bollywood, which is the heart of India's entertainment industry, has long been under siege by more than just its glittering fame and fortune. For decades, some of its biggest stars have found themselves caught in a deadly game. They've been targeted not by the media but by the criminal underworld. In January 2025, actor Saif Ali Khan became the latest victim when a knife attack occurred inside his residence. In April 2024, a similar incident took place outside superstar Salman Khan's Bandra residence when gunmen from the Lawrence Bishnoi gang opened fire outside his home. But this isn't a new problem, as I mentioned earlier. Going back to January 2000, Rakesh Roshan, who is a celebrated film producer, was attacked outside his office by underworld gangs. He survived the attack but suffered 2 serious bullet injuries. In August 1997, the industry lost one of its most iconic figures, Gulshan Kumar, the founder of T-Series, who was shot dead by the underworld in an attack that still echoes through the halls of Bollywood. And the violence doesn't stop there. In April 1993, actor Sanjay Dutt narrowly escaped a shooting, a close call orchestrated by the same criminal syndicates that have long had their grip on Bollywood. These attacks are just a few examples of the underworld that has cast a dark shadow over Bollywood for decades. The violence is not just a story of individual attacks, it's a wider pattern of fear that continues to threaten the industry. And tensions flared once again along the Thai-Cambodian border this week. Thai riot police fired tear gas and rubber bullets at Cambodian civilians during a confrontation in a disputed area. The clash marks a significant escalation, coming just months after a deadly 5-day conflict between the two countries in July. According to authorities, the altercation occurred when Cambodian protesters attempted to remove barbed wire placed by Thailand at the disputed border settlement. Thai riot police, in return, ordered the protesters to retreat using tear gas, rubber bullets and a long-range acoustic device. The Cambodian side retaliated by throwing rocks and wooden sticks at the police. The Royal Thai Army shared handout footage showing the chaotic scenes, capturing the tense standoff between the two nations. Cambodian authorities report that at least 23 Cambodians were injured, while Thailand's military confirmed that several Thai officials also sustained injuries, though the numbers remain unspecified. The clashes took place in the southern border that has Sakhaio province on the Thai side and Banteay Meanchey province on the Cambodian side. The incident follows a similar confrontation a day prior as crowds armed with wooden sticks and slingshots tried to pull down newly built fences. This recent flare-up comes on the heels of the worst fighting between Thailand and Cambodia in decades. The violent clashes in late July claimed at least 43 lives and displaced over 300,000 people along the border. The intense fighting prompted both nations to agree to a ceasefire, but tensions have continued to simmer. Thailand's newly elected Prime Minister, Anuthin, has made restoring peace with Cambodia one of his top priorities while balancing the need to protect the country's sovereignty. His predecessor, Paetongtarn Shinawatra, was ousted by Thailand's constitutional court over ethical violations regarding her handling of the border dispute. And our next story is a medical mystery hiding in plain sight. Women in India are more likely to be diagnosed with cancer, but men are more likely to die from it. It's a paradox that's raising tough questions for India's healthcare system and is being seen in the country's latest cancer registry data. Let me say that again. Women account for just over half of all new cancer cases, but men make up the majority of cancer-related deaths. I am not saying this is what the reports say. But why is it? Experts point to a mix of biology, behavior, access and awareness. For women, cancers like breast and cervical, which are often detected through reproductive health checkups and awareness campaigns, they are being diagnosed earlier and are being treated more effectively. But men, in contrast, are dying in greater numbers from cancers that are more aggressive, more advanced when diagnosed, and often linked to tobacco and alcohol use. In fact, doctors say many Indian men go their entire lives without ever seeing a doctor, and only until it's too late. And that data is clear. Tobacco still drives 40% of preventable cancers in India. In men, oral, lung and prostate cancers dominate, while for women, breast and cervical cancers make up nearly 40% of all cases. It's not just about gender, it's also about geography. India's northeast is a cancer hotspot, with some districts reporting lifetime cancer risk twice the national average. The tobacco use in the region is rampant, and cultural practices, from how food is prepared to what's consumed daily, is driving the cancer risk higher. Even within cities, the patterns are uneven. Let's break it down. As per reports, lung cancer rates are highest in Srinagar, breast cancer tops the chart in Hyderabad, and Delhi men are being diagnosed with all cancers at a higher rate than the national average. It's a sobering reality that cancer in India is growing and it's getting more complicated. The country is seeing more cases, more deaths, more disparities. And lifestyles change with rising obesity, sedentary habits, late pregnancies and poor diets. The risk map is changing too. So the big takeaway here is India's cancer burden is not only growing, it is gendered, regional and deeply unequal. And unless public health campaigns, prevention efforts and early screenings aren't extended across the board, India may continue to lose lives not just to cancer, but to delay, negligence and disparity. Now this summer, Spain found itself in the grip of its hottest season since records began in 1961. With temperatures soaring 2.1 degrees Celsius above the 1991 to 2020 average, the summer of 2025 wasn't just another heat wave, it was about warnings and wildfires. As the country sweltered, the extreme temperatures fueled some of the most devastating wildfires Spain has seen in decades. From the rugged hills to fields of Castellón, flames raced across more than 20,000 hectares of land, scorching the landscape and leaving communities in ruin.
Heat waves at the peninsula were significant because between the two of them, they summed up 33 days, meaning that at least 1 in every 3 days this summer we have been under a heat wave situation with extreme temperatures. The summer was generally dry, especially in the peninsula's west. It's true that there were strong storms in the northeast, but in the peninsula's west, this combination of little rain and very high temperatures triggered an intense series of wildfires in August.
Now for local honey producers, the effects are personal and profound. Some estimate that they will lose at least half of their money of their honey production this year, and the ripple effect will also be the same next year as the flower bees take years to recover. Now, the fires didn't just decimate local agriculture, they also ravaged Spain's growing rural tourism sector. The northwestern region, which was once popular escape for nature lovers, hikers and food enthusiasts, suddenly was thrust into chaos. Sanabria Lake, which is a major draw for tourists, had to close, leaving local businesses counting the costs and losing livelihood. But the losses go beyond tourism and agriculture. The fires have caused an estimated 600 million euros in damages to Spain's farming industry, including destroyed crops, properties and livestock. The blow is cruel for many farmers who are already struggling with rising fuel and feed costs. Beyond the immediate financial losses, the fires highlight a deeper issue facing rural Spain. Decades of migration to urban areas have left many regions vulnerable to such disasters, with weakened infrastructure and little support to mitigate the effects of climate change. The damage to agriculture alone is estimated at 600 million euros, and that figure is likely to rise as the full extent of the devastation becomes clear. Across Europe, wildfires have burned through a record 1.03 million hectares of land, and Spain's northwestern region saw temperatures 3 degrees above normal, 3 degrees Celsius. The extreme heat and dry conditions have made wildfires more frequent and intense. As the country grapples with these losses, one thing is clear: Spain's rural areas are in need of greater support and investment. The fires have not only scorched the land but also ignited a debate about the future of rural Spain. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Gravitas. Thank you so much for tuning in. News and updates will continue on the other side on WION World is One. Stay tuned.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker on WION World is One.
The IDF is inside Gaza City. Thousands are fleeing under fire as the UN grants the word genocide. In Turkey, streets are erupting, the opposition is being gagged, and a critical court decision has been stalled. Is Erdogan's Turkey sliding into authoritarianism? And in Abu Dhabi, there is a game changer in firefighting. an AI super investigator to track financial fraud.
Watch the West Asia Post with me, Radi Francis, every Friday at these times, only on WION. World is One.
WION, India's global voice. The channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION, World is One. From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening. As we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch. WION, India's global voice. The channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION, World is One.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker on WION World is One.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening. As we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch. WION, India's global voice. The channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens.